Hello, all you unsung athletes. Welcome to the Unsung Athlete Podcast, where we give a voice to you, the unsung athlete, training every day, grinding without excuse, reward or not. I'm your host, Shannon Rose. Let's get started. Welcome to the Unsung Athlete Podcast, where we give a voice to you, the unsung athlete. I'm your host, Shannon Rose, and I'm here with my dear friend, Jereme Bates, dad to 3 young athletes, husband, my longtime martial arts training partner, and fearless unsung athlete. Since I met Jereme, 8 years ago, I have had the privilege of training alongside him, watching him build his martial arts lifestyle, and he continues to mentor and shape this next generation of athletes. You continue to show up no matter how difficult life gets for you, and no matter how crazy your life schedule is, you always find a way to get to class and to better yourself. And so, Jereme, you are an inspiration each and every day, and I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Let's get started.
Yeah.
So, you know me well. Pretty well. And I have to start everything with love. So tell me, what do you love and what are you grateful for today?
I love my family. Every morning when I wake up, that's the first thing I think of. Looking forward to seeing them when they wake up because I'm usually up first. And and I'm just grateful that they're healthy and happy, and that they're active and enjoying life. So
Right. That's not a small thing.
No, it's not. And you realize that the further you go in life, that it's not just a given that you're going to wake up every day happy. So
no, and you're not just going to wake up to happy, healthy kids in your house.
It's exactly.
It
is a gift.
Yeah. It's a draining gift, but it's a gift.
Yeah. Draining is an understatement.
So I know you've been an athlete for a long time, and you also have coached. You've coached your kiddos' teams, and you continue to train in martial arts week after week. But today, in this moment, do you consider yourself an athlete, and why?
Depends on the day. I consider myself an athlete. I'm still getting after it, whether it's at the martial arts gym or whether it's at home. I'm always doing something. And so for me, it's kind of the mindset of I need this in my life to keep me centered, keep me moving, keep me happy. And so, yeah, I do consider myself an athlete. Not always very good. There are days when it doesn't all work very well, but that doesn't stop me from trying, at least, and chalking it up to some days are good, some days are bad, and just keep plugging away. So,
like yesterday's Muay Thai test prep.
Yeah. I feel the hips more than I did 8 years ago. And then obviously doing the 2 sports is it can be a lot on my back and elbows and shoulders and all that stuff. So, but it's just preparation at home and taking a day off and sauna work and stretching and weightlifting and all that stuff. So
you're really good. You're so much better than me at doing the work at home. I have to get out of my house. I can't just go into my home gym. I need to get out and go somewhere. But you're incredible at just doing it.
Again, it keeps me sane. So some of it's just if I don't do it, I know I won't get what I want out of the gym tomorrow, and it doesn't mean it happens. And but I know that if I don't do the work, that it's not gonna. I won't be an athlete anymore. So
yeah, what a scary thought, huh?
I know it is. I remember in college when organized sports or traditional sports were over, and I was just lost. Freshman, sophomore in college, just gaining weight, just not caring. not knowing what to do, and just I remember at one point I was like jogging to Taco Bell, and then and then I jogged back, and I'd be like, well, that was pretty good. Um, but it all just kind of led to realizing that I have to, whether I'm in an organized sport or not, I just have to keep doing something. Jogging to Taco Bell turned into marathons turned into triathlons turned into why didn't I find martial arts 15 years ago? And here we are.
Me too.
Right?
Okay, so you told me about kind of your middle story, and you alluded to some sports you played, but tell me your origin story. I mean, I know you've been an athlete for a long time, you've coached your kids and stuff, but where did you first, well, like when did you first consider yourself an athlete?
um I grew up with parents that were pretty active. My first memories of uh, them, I guess, being athletes was, them jogging all the time. And I went on my first jog with them. I think it was like 3 miles at 7. And
Jeez.
yeah, for me, that was just, can I do it? And I've had that thought in my head ever since. Like, can I do it? And so I started doing that. I played sports, football, hockey, basketball, baseball, wrestling. I did all these things trying to figure out what I liked the best, and it eventually, it ended up being I tried to play football and wrestle in college, and I got hurt like right out of the gate. Um,
What
yeah,
was
I
your
blew out my
injury?
ACL. What's
Oh,
that? Yeah,
ACL?
I blew out my ACL in a football drill, and I just realized very quickly that there's no glory in playing Division 3 football, and I am done. That was like the end of the organized sports career, right? So
Yeah.
that's where a year later, I'm jogging to Taco Bell on my rehabbed leg, and
Oh
didn't
my
really
gosh.
know where to go from there. But yeah, I mean, my parents both played sports, and so for me, it was kind of idolizing them. My dad was a very good football player, played college football, and even had a tryout with the Vikings and all that stuff. And so for me, it was just always like, yeah, football is life, and I have to be that good. And it just was always kind of a goal to try and emulate my folks. Um, he actually stopped jogging at like 75, and my mom was 73. They jogged like 4 or 5 days a week. Yeah,
Hashtag goals. I bet they
yeah,
look
right.
incredible too.
Yeah, so it was, it just when that's what you're idolizing, it's, I guess, just easy to look up to. And then, now that's part of my motivation too, right? It's having my kids see me chase after it, and it's setting that example so that I can give them what my parents gave me. So
Yeah, I was just going to ask you because that is a massive piece. I know that drives me every day. I'm not bringing up small girls, so you got to show them what you can do with that great body. But it's about that daily. They see you every day exhausted. They see you tired. They see you injured. And what do?
yeah,
You pick up your bag, walk out the door, and get to the gym.
yeah. And I love that, like that little mental thing, right? When you see that in them, and you're like, you know, you see kids all the time, just and they're kids, right? But they're tired and they don't want to participate. And then you see in your own kids sometimes where they're just that kind of that dog like you are, and they're like, it's okay to be exhausted. It's
Yeah,
okay to be really winded. It's okay to like, and they chase that
right.
because they saw it somewhere, and it's close to home. So that's part of it. I mean, I like that.
Right. No, I mean, not just like it, it's absolutely the why. So,
Yeah.
um, can I mention your age or
Oh
your
yeah,
rough
go for it.
age? So, As a man in your mid 40s, you
46.
recently
Yeah.
you recently achieved your purple belt in jiu-jitsu and your
Hmm.
brown armband in Muay Thai. Both of those don't come easily, right? Those are two things that you can't just go and get. You have to put in a significant amount of time and effort. And I've seen you put in the time and effort in all of that. What does it feel like to achieve those levels of success at this age, at this point in your life? And how did you make that happen?
Stubbornness. How does it feel? It feels good. I mean, it's like when you look in the mirror every once in a while and you go, "Whoa, I'm still 21. Who is this I'm looking at?" And so my mind helps me, I guess, pursue these things. Um, and I forget about my age while I'm pursuing them. The next morning, I remember my age. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's I set a goal just like I did when I was younger, one of these fight team club guys at the gym, it's I set a goal to go get it, and I'm not going to stop if my body will get me there until I do. And it's cost me a few things, right?
Yeah.
Some weekends where dad's not moving so well, or some neck injury that keeps me out for 6 months, a knee surgery that set me back another 5 months. But every stripe, every promotion in Muay Thai, every good kick, it kind of makes it worthwhile, and reminds me that you got to do it while you can, because
Right.
it's gonna go away.
Yeah.
And so, it. Some days I'm like, I just hope my body gets me there, gets me to the finish line, but then there's no finish line, so I'm never gonna quit. It's just
Right.
adapting and adjusting and trying to pursue this as long as I can, because I do love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you're kind of answering it, but I'm going to ask it again just to see if you can finish the answer. But
sure.
how do you keep yourself going as an athlete today, knowing that there's no major award? Yes, eventually you and I are going to be our black armbands. Eventually
Hmm.
you're going to get a black belt. But that's not like a belt you win in a ring. It's not like a giant trophy. It's not something, like that. Knowing there's not this major award every day or recognition that's coming for you, how do you keep yourself going as an athlete today? And really, what drives you to be that everyday athlete? You've touched on it, but I just want to
Yeah.
give you the chance to see if there's anything else.
Uh, mine is, I guess, stubbornness. I mean, it's like a challenge that I gave myself as soon as I realized that I like this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like when somebody tells you can't do something, and it's like my mind telling me you can't do this. And then me saying, okay, watch me do it. And
Yeah.
it's that little thing when you wake up and your back's so stiff that you can barely get up.
Yeah.
And then that little reminder in the back of your head going, you can't do this, get to work, and
Watch me.
watch me, right? And so that, I think, is a big piece. But then honestly, having my kids watch me do it too, that's the other one, where it's like, how many times they've asked me, Dad, are you going to get your black belt? Dad, are you going to get your black
So
belt?
they're waiting for it just as much. Now you have to do it.
There you go. I can't quit if I want to.
That's right.
It's they wouldn't be let down, but they're proud of my achievements. And so when I come home with a new stripe, they're more excited than I am.
Oh
I
my
mean,
gosh.
they'll put my belt on and start walking around. I've lost armbands because they'll put them on and walk around, and like they're more proud than I am. So
Yeah.
uh, between those two, just kind of like that mental defect of saying, just tell me I can't do it, because that's going to get me over the edge. And then, while having my kids be proud of me and see that, and just knowing that it's all part of setting an example.
Right.
That's what keeps me going. That's what my goal is. Um, but then, yeah, it's like there's no end, right?
No,
That's the other little mind
you're never
messer,
going to
right?
get there.
I'm never gonna get there. If I'm 55, I'm still gonna come in and throw my kicks and hit my combos, but it's just gonna be a little different, I
I'll
think.
see you there.
I'll
Don't you
see you
worry. In
there.
10 years,
That's
we're still
right.
going to be there.
And I love telling the younger guys at the gym, how old are you? Oh, I'm 20. Okay, I'm coming in 26 years from now. I
Right.
want to see if you're still here.
Right.
Then you'll understand.
Then you'll understand. You'll understand what a lifetime of this does.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of work, and it's you got to have a little screw loose to want to pursue it all the time. But
100%.
I'm still there. And my wrestling coach used to say, "You got to have something wrong with you to want to wrestle." Like it's just not. It's just not that mainstream
Yeah.
on TV sport. And if you really want to go to battle and work that hard and get beat up and beat somebody up, it's you got to have a screw loose, and I definitely have that. Um, I've got it honed in pretty well, but there's that thing where when you wake up and you can barely move, and you're like, oh, going to the gym.
And do it. Yeah.
I'm doing it. Like I don't care. I'm
I
going.
don't care.
You throw that first kick and just about die, but then you get through it.
But then you're done. Like then all of a sudden all the pain goes away, everything
Yep.
takes over, and you just like are in a zone. You're in your happy
Yep.
place.
Yep. Absolutely. Everything's back to normal.
Everything's back to more normal when you're moving. So you did talk about one instance of this,
Mhm.
but as you think about what drives you to keep going now, like we all have a comeback story or an underdog story that helped us get here. Something that maybe may have been out of your control or went against what you set out to do as an athlete. But tell me your comeback story where you took unexpected time off from being an athlete, or maybe you were forced to. Or, you touched on one story, maybe you want to go a little deeper on that. Or where, there ever a time where you tried for something and then maybe didn't get it? So tell me your comeback story.
Yeah. I mean, I've had my fair share of injuries, right? So I've had both my ACLs done and then a meniscus root repair. Uh, I did bulging disc in my neck and all that stuff. And all that stuff takes time. And you go through that mental jockeying of, am I going to come back from this? Is it worth coming back from this? This stinks. Like, I don't want to go through this again.
Yeah.
Like, take up pickleball and get over it and move on, right? Uh, but
Yeah.
like probably
But
my
pickleball isn't punching.
right. Well, that's what I mean. Like maybe pickleball is a bad example because you do see people get injured in that surprisingly, but you know what I mean. Like
I
just
do.
pick an easier sport and move on with your life and just don't push it so hard. But that's not me. I think probably that stuff aside, my biggest comeback story is I got really sick in college. I got my roommate goes to Mexico, comes back with hepatitis A, and hepatitis A is normally kind of like the flu. And um, I ended up waking up one night in the middle of the night with seizures. Um, and I asked my buddies, I'm like, can you take me to the hospital? Like my tongue is bleeding for some random reason. And they're like, oh, just take these sleeping pills and go back to bed. And I was like, no,
Oh
no, I had to
my
go down
God.
the hall, ask somebody else to bring me to the hospital. They bring me to the hospital. I have more seizures and find out I'm in like liver failure. And
Jeremy.
I ended up on a liver transplant list. And I was in ICU for 10 days. Uh, I was told, you know, uh, you're never going to have a drink again. You're never going to be able to live a normal life again. You probably won't get a liver because we're so far behind all this stuff. Um, I ended up making just this random miraculous recovery. The chief gastroenterologist down in KC where I was said, I hope you believe in God because I have no way to explain your recovery. Um, and so, all that stuff kind of just always weighs in the back of your mind, like make the most of it.
Yeah.
So
You
yeah,
were
it's
already given
yeah,
your like chance.
yeah, yeah. So then laying in bed sore, you can't just be like, I'm not getting up today. I'm not chasing it. You got to.
Right.
Yeah.
There was a time when you might not have been here.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. My folks had to come say goodbye because I was out for most of it. Uh, and you wake up and they're like, oh, sobbing and they're saying goodbye to you. And I'm like, no, I'll be fine. Don't worry. And then I'd pass out again. Yeah. And my mom still can't talk about it. This was 1998. So
She
yeah,
can't even go there. Yeah.
can't go there.
No.
She'll tell anybody. If you meet my mom, she will tell you this story. But now as a parent, I get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of my comeback story. That set me back a little ways and left me mm, last year of college just kind of wondering what I'm supposed to do. And I still haven't figured that out, but all I know now is that you got to get after it. And I feel like I do.
Yeah, you do.
Try to make the most of every day. Be grateful for what I got because it's not guaranteed to be here tomorrow.
So I have to ask though, how did you get from deathbed to recovery to then being active again? I mean, you've got this mentality, but like, what did you get into next and what were those first steps?
Um, I had already kind of started at that point in my life, found fitness again. I mean, that's when I had
Yeah.
started. This was after jogging the Taco Bell and back. I had made, cardio part of my life. I had started cleaning up how I was eating a little bit, lifting weights, all that stuff. And the doctor told me when it happened, like you have to credit
Yes.
your the way you take care of yourself physically to maybe getting over this. But then from there, yeah, I was taking time off, being very careful with myself and how I treated myself. And then after that, once I remember getting the green light to kind of live a normal life again. And I mean, I went after it. I
Yeah.
remember entering an intramural wrestling tournament and signed up for my first long race. And it just was. I know it sounds like all I did was sports, but I mean that was just part of it. It's like not being able to walk and then just being told you can walk again and just running, right? That's
Right.
how I felt. I just took off. And I was like, wow, I got to. And sat
Yeah.
there searching for what's my purpose in life. Well, I don't know that there was, except you got a gift and you get to do it
You
again.
just got to move. You got to
You
go.
just got to move and just make the most of it. So
Woo!
yeah.
Yes. Oh, you've inspired me.
Oh, this
You,
inspired you to not get hepatitis A.
but I mean, you inspire me so much because there are so many times where I go, I don't want to go, but I know you're probably going to be there. And then we can just give each other that look or that nod and go, oh, like we didn't sleep. Our kids are assholes, like everything's shitty, but we're here.
Yeah.
I got you.
This is my me time for the next hour.
Yeah. Okay. So I know in my own journey, there is always like one, maybe two people who have sparked something in me to be an athlete. So my fifth grade basketball coach was that for me. He kind of helped me flip from being this gentle giant to being this like bulldog. Like I'm
Yeah,
so sorry I knocked you over to never apologize, get back out there and go and run
for
them
sure.
over. So, who is that? Who is one person in your life that you'd like to thank? And how have they helped you and inspired you to become an unsung athlete?
I mean, there's lots of people, but the one that stands out is my high school wrestling coach, Chuck Coffey. He was my gym teacher freshman year in high school. I I was a late bloomer and played hockey, wasn't gonna pursue the time commitment there. So I started playing basketball because that's what everybody did. But I go into ninth grade and I'm 5'3", maybe 117 pounds. Of course, I didn't make the basketball team. Half these guys were grown men and shaving and all that stuff. So I don't make the basketball team. And I start just floundering. I mean, I was getting in trouble and not not doing what I'm supposed to in life. And we're in gym class one day and he is showing an aerobics video. And that was our class for the day. And I'm not doing aerobics. Forget that. So I just go sit down. He comes over to me and he just goes A plus, A, A minus, B plus. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he goes, that's your grade unless you get up. B, B minus, C plus. He gets to C minus. And I finally stand up and start doing the aerobics. And he said, you can have your A back if you come out for wrestling. So my coach blackmails me into wrestling. And my dad's like was a very good basketball player. So I go home one day and I'm like, Dad, I got to go wrestle.
I have to wrestle if I want an A in PE.
Yeah. All he could say was, why are you getting a C minus in gym? Like, how does this happen? I'm like, well, the only way I can fix it is go out for wrestling. Well, I immediately loved it. It was just something I could do, that I wasn't having to necessarily compete with guys that had already matured and moved on. And I was wrestling at I think 119 my freshman year. But then I guess the big thing is that once I got to know Chuck Coffey, he every year, just every time I talked to him, he would build me up by just saying, like, you're an athlete. Like, you might not have more skill than this guy, but you're an athlete. So just go be athletic, do your thing, and go get it done.
Right.
And then that kind of stuck with me. That is a thought that I have had throughout my life, just running through my head. Just like, yeah, I'm no pro athlete, but I'm athletic and I can do a lot of stuff if I put my mind to it. It might look pretty stupid at first, but if I stick with it and I put in the work, I'll catch up. And so he really changed my outlook on sports with that. And so yeah, I mean he's the one that really kind of changed the course. I mean, literally that thought, can I do a marathon? I don't know. And then it was like, well, sure, if I
I'm an
make
athlete.
a plan and I think about it and I do it, and then 5 marathons later, I'm like, yeah, I probably owe Chuck Coffey a thank you for putting that in my head, that I can do anything if I just believe in athleticism and that I'll figure everything else out. So, yep.
Chuck Coffey is an amazing name, by the way.
Yeah, right.
Also, just you said, like, if I reach out to him and thank him, I tried to reach out to my fifth grade basketball coach, but he had passed away. So I actually never got to thank him for what he did. I wanted to, but I ended up thanking his wife. So if it's in your mind, I challenge you to write him a letter and tell him that one phrase changed your life, because my gosh, like, what powerful words. If you're told you're an athlete, you're going to be an athlete.
Yeah, especially when you're 119-pound nothing.
Dripping wet. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have seen him a number of times since.
Oh, you have?
Since high school, yeah. And I think he's down in Florida now. But yeah, he was a U of M wrestler. So I mean, he was an Olympic alternate. He was a big deal. So then, learning more about the sport and hearing that come from him, and whether it was just motivation or it was real, it's what I had to hear,
Yeah.
So It made a big difference. And he's part of my coaching style. Oh, and the best part about it is he never once called me Jeremy. He called me Jerry my entire time with him. And it was like at an awards banquet at the very end of my career. And he introduces me to come up there and says, Jerry. And and parents are all laughing. And I'm like, Chuck, you know my name's Jeremy, right? And he's like, looks at me and just smiles. He's like, yeah, I got you, Jerry.
It's a sign of dominance. So he's like,
It is.
you're always going to be Jerry because you're below.
There you go.
Okay. So what do you want your legacy story to be? So when people think of Jereme Bates, the unsung athlete, what do you want them to think or say about you or feel?
I mean, I want my kids to be proud. I guess I just want people, if anybody looked back on what I did or tried to accomplish, it's just like Chuck told me, like, I don't have to be the most skilled guy, but nobody's going to outwork me. Like I just don't ever want to feel like if I pushed it a little harder, I could have accomplished more.
Yeah.
And so, I guess that would be it, is that me is all I really care about, knows that I left it all out there, like forever. Everything I tried to do, I mean, not every single run or every single pad round, but like overall, I put everything I had into it. And, that doesn't always translate to every part of my life, right?
Right.
Sometimes works better than other times, or sometimes me as a dad is better some days. But overall, like, that is what I would like to at least look back and feel good about myself, is that I just tried as hard as I could all the time and pursued things with as much tenacity as possible, as much as I've got to give.
Yeah. Well, I see it every time I see you. You might have bags under your eyes, but I see it and I feel it, and that helps me too. And I know you're intuitive enough to be out on the mats holding pads for myself or others, and like, maybe I'm a little lower that day, but you go, okay, Shannon, like, let's go, like, cross me. And then pretty soon we're in the groove and there's something ignited. So know that you do. That is the legacy you are leaving, and that you do lead. When I think of you, I absolutely think of you that way. So,
well, thank you.
Yes. All right. Our final question, the big question. You have 30 seconds to answer. What is one thing that you would say to inspire the world?
You got one chance at all of this. You got one life. Make it count. I mean, if you know what your dream is, pursue it. Chase it. If you don't, keep searching. Don't ever stop. Don't ever settle.
Yeah.
Just keep chasing it with everything you got.
I love it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Well, Jereme, thank you for being here and showing us all the true heart of an unsung athlete.
Thank you very much for having me on.
Thank you for joining us on the Unsung Athlete podcast, where we give a voice to you, the unsung athlete. I'm your host, Shannon Rose. Keep grinding without excuse.